Hey everybody, welcome to Garden Time with Belle. Well, it is time for another garden tour. I am so glad you're here because I love to take you along with me at least once a month to look at what's happening in the garden. And we are in the month of June. We're toward the end of June, and it actually is one of my favorite months in the garden. It is not hot here yet in my Zone 6 Mid-Missouri garden. It has been a rainy spring and a rainy early summer, very unusual for us, but I'm excited to take you along and show you what's blooming. So before we start our June walkabout garden tour, I'm going to invite everybody out there to please like and subscribe to my channel. Subscribing helps me grow my channel. It helps me connect with more gardeners just like you. I really appreciate those of you that are already subscribing and you keep coming back for more gardening content. So thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to start on the front side of the house, which is west facing, lots of full sun in the afternoon. Things look a little different than they did just a month ago, especially my Gertrude Jekyll climbing roses. They had their big flush already, and now they're taking a little siesta, a little break, and that's really common, but Gertrude Jekyll is a repeat bloomer. The other thing about my two Gertrude Jekylls is that I did a very hard reconditioning prune in, I think it was the first week of April, and her sister, which is the same plant here, you can see she handled that reprune better than the other one. She really came through it like a champ. And so what I want you to come in and show is what I did on that big prune is I'm trying to train the canes to be horizontal. That's what you're supposed to do with climbers. You get way more blooms that way. And so I cut out a ton of canes and I'm retraining it. So, you know, we'll see how that one comes through for next year, but she needs a little bit of a break because wow, was she glorious just a month ago. Same thing with this next plant I want to show you. Come around here and take a look at my clematis. I'll put a picture on the screen. This was jaw-dropping. This probably was a month ago my most favorite clematis of all time, the best year for this clematis. And now you can see not too many flowers left, but coming really close because the seed heads, what is left over when those petals fall, aren't they beautiful? I just think they're so great. They look like little fireworks. But this is a repeat bloomer, so I can expect to get some more flushes of these gorgeous purple flowers. And I have to admit something, everybody. Thank you to one of you viewers who let me know that this is not Jack Manny or Jack Manai, which is what I thought it was. That's what the tag said when I planted it 4 years ago. I think it's like HD Lang or something. I will look it up, honestly. I can't remember the variety, but we're pretty sure it's a different variety. And I don't care what it's called because look at it. It's called beautiful. So I am pretty excited about this little stretch of the front garden because this was a complete redo and I did a whole video on this. And what I decided this needed was a lot more color. So I chose shrubs that are small and compact because this is a little narrow bed and I bet you guys have some of those around your property and that can be a bit of a challenge. So what I chose to plant here this spring is a dwarf butterfly bush and this is called Pugster Blue. Oh my gosh, you all, it just started opening up. Look at that color. And then as we make our way down, this is a new hydrangea. I put 3 of them in, and this is called Bobo hydrangeas. So both these and the Dahlia get around 2.5 feet to 3 foot tall and wide, and they will fill in this space nicely. But did you notice? Check this one out. Right here. This, it's not doing much. It's got a few holes too, and I'm not sure what was eating the leaves earlier. No blooms, much smaller than the other two. I bought them all at the same place, same time. But you know, you don't give up on your shrubs, right? You guys know the saying. First year they sleep, they don't do a lot. Second year they creep, third year they leap. So, you know, it's an investment and there's some patience involved. So I mean, it doesn't look dead at all. It's just, I don't know what's going on. It's just much smaller and, you know, a little slow to get started, but that's all right. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And let's do a quick container update. So here are my concrete urns, and what is prominent is the strawberry drop coleus. In fact, I have pinched it back so many times because, come in here, what needs to shine and be tall in the back is my dragon wing or angel wing pink begonias that are just lovely. So this eventually will get about this tall, but it's a little slow going, and I think my coleus is so vigorous that it was kind of covering up. Coleus and dragonwing begonia can take full shade to part sun, and this is heavily shaded. This maybe gets sun maybe 1 to 2 hours a day when the sun is low in the sky. But if you come over here, same thing, but look at this. This little one is taking her sweet time, but that's all right. I want to just make sure the sun, when we do get some sun, can get back to the back of the pot. I mean, this was a season of change this spring. I really swapped out a lot of things. The Oh So Easy Italian Ice was glorious a few weeks ago. It's taken a break, but it's an excellent, easy, low maintenance, disease resistant shrub rose from Proven Winners. Oh So Easy Italian Ice. Can't recommend it enough. All right, so I went a little nuts this year with annuals because I wanted to amp up the flower power, and you can plainly see how I did it in this bed. I've been hearing so many great things about this salvia and has not disappointed me. This is Rockin' Playin' the Blue salvia from Proven Winners. I think I can put in a little video. The hummingbirds go crazy for this plant. They're all over these plants. So I love that saturated blue color. I've got this yellow, super petunia, mini vista yellow. I've got my mini vista paradise. And again, these are going to get much bigger. The idea here, especially these pink ones, the paradise, they're going to get so big that they're going to actually grow together. So you can see more of that. And then I have to show you before we leave this area, here's a new addition. So this is a new addition hydrangea. This is called pufferfish. This will get 4-ish feet tall and wide and fill in this area nicely. And it's already producing its first flowers. They haven't opened up yet, but there they are. I can't wait to see how this does. It seems like it already loves this location. This would be my 4th variety of hydrangea. And if you follow my channel, you know I love panicle hydrangeas. They're super easy, super tough plants. They can handle our cold winters and come back strong each year. Soon. Okay, so here is my extra cut flower bed that my husband built for me several years ago because I can't grow enough cut flowers. I did a whole video on a zinnia experiment, and the experiment was everything you see here in the back row, I grew from seed in my greenhouse, and everything in the front, I actually direct sowed my zinnia seed. And so my idea here is to decide which does better. Is it worth me starting seeds indoors? Will the front row catch up with the back row? I don't know, but we're gonna follow it along. This is the Queenie Lime series. First time I've ever grown this series. Queen Lime Red. I think I've got Queen Lime, oh, I have to look. Let me look at my tags here. Queen Lime Red, Queen Lime Blush, they're not blooming yet, and Zowie Wowie, I think, Yellow Flame. So all new varieties for me this year. So not a ton to see in this narrow bed, but a couple of months ago, oh my goodness, spring, 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 yellow and deep purple false indigo or baptisia. And of course, my peonies, they are well past being done for the year, but I do want to show you 2 things that are looking amazing. This is Perovskia or Russian sage. Isn't that color magnificent? And the pollinators, there's bees on it right now. They absolutely adore this plant. But here's what I really want to draw your attention to right here. Check this out. I'm trying an experiment because I had a happy accident somewhere else in the garden last year. Is my sweet potato vine. This is Margarita or Marguerite. Grew so vigorously as a ground cover, it grew up and over a retaining wall. Well, when we get on the back side of this wall, I thought, how can I cover this wall because it's not very pretty. I thought I'm going to do that with the sweet potato vine, and I'm trying to train it, and so far it is cooperating. As we get to the point here, you're going to see another summerific hardy hibiscus, and I believe, I think this is Spinderella. And if you come in very close, I want to show you what the flower buds start to look like. So it's just now beginning to put on its flower buds, and it is a stunner. So stay tuned for that July garden tour, because I am confident in July these hardy hibiscus that have these massive blooms, they'll be everywhere. We've got our hostas sending up some bloom spikes. I'm not a huge fan of the hosta flowers. In fact, a lot of times I'll cut them back, but pollinators kind of enjoy them. So I tend to let them come up and flower and do their things for the pollinators. And then I definitely, when the blooms are spent, will cut them out of all the hostas so that the energy can go back into creating that really rich, healthy foliage. Well, I have had so much fun with container gardening this year, and red, white, and blue, right? It's our 250th anniversary. So I took you along with me as I potted up these two, they call them weekender baskets. They are self-watering, you all. I only have to water these baskets about every 3 or 4 days. It's amazing. So I'll put a link in the description below on where you can purchase these. So far, I love them because, as you know, petunias or super cows is what these are. They need lots of moisture. You don't want to let them dry out, and they are loving life. So we're going to go ahead and head up the deck and show you a couple of other hanging baskets, and then my big planter that is looking so pretty right now. All right, as we swing around here, let me come over here, and I know the shadows are going to be kind of hard to see, but this cocoa coir basket, this is a proven winner's recipe. It's got royal velvet petunias. It's got this beautiful blue lobelia. Lobelia tends to fizzle out when it gets super hot. So, but I've been enjoying it. It's been beautiful for the last month. And then the double yellow Calibrochoa, I think. Anyhow, I just think that's pretty sweet. So if you've got a really shady spot, you need to be growing caladiums and coleus. And oh, I don't know if I put the tags in here, did I? Ooh, yay, I did. I've been trying to do a better job with that because I can't remember the varieties. This is called Pink Beauty. That's a beautiful caladium. That's just one plant. And oh, I don't even need to look this one up because I have this in the front deck with my dragonwing begonias. This is the strawberry drop coleus. So again, this has only been here about a month. Maybe 5 weeks. No, I think this one's been here about a month. So everything you're seeing in terms of these hanging baskets, they have only been going maybe 5 to 6 weeks at the most. So they have a lot more growing to do, but I'm really happy with how they're looking. And then of course, we've got to look over here. This is actually, I did a whole video on this in the spring. This is a Perfecto Mundo azalea. It's supposed to be a re-blooming azalea. Typically, old school azaleas only bloom once in the early spring and then they're done. So it's supposed to bloom midsummer and then again in the fall. So it's a gorgeous shrub though, right? Isn't that pretty? Just even without the flowers. And then, oh, look how this is filling in, everyone. I took my ivy from the greenhouse. I had a pot filled with ivy that I've had for 2 or 3 years using in different locations, and I decided to use that as a backdrop, and it is doing just fine growing up this trellis. I've got Wicked Witch coleus. I've got Creeping Jenny, and isn't this chartreuse playing off of this gorgeous chartreuse scalloped edges of the Wicked Witch? I mean, what a combo. I love how that's turning out. And this is a hugely popular proven winners begonia. This is the Surefire Rose Begonia. Why are they so amazing? Because they do equally well in sun or shade. And when you can find plants like this coleus and this begonia that can take all kinds of sun conditions, what a great thing for our gardens. And again, we're up on the deck. This gets morning sun because that's east, but it also gets sun probably until about noon, 1 o'clock, because that's south facing. So that's all it gets, and then it's shaded the rest of the day, and they seem to respond really well to those light conditions. One of my big goals this summer was to amp up the color and the flower power, and I think if you look around me, you can tell that I have achieved that so far. I could not be more delighted with this combination. Come in here and look at this Proven Winners Reminiscent Coral Rose. I mean, check the color out. And I decided to underplant it and pair it with the double grapefruit Calibrochoa. The amazing thing about this plant is that one plant, different colored flowers, and they change throughout the season. You've got the pinky coral, you've got the yellow, you've got the mixture, you've got some that are more yellow than others, but look at how that goes together. And you know me, everybody, if you follow my channel, you know, and maybe I'll try to put a picture on the screen. I do not overplant my pots. I am a patient gardener. I wait. I spend less money per pot, and then I have a lot of pots because you don't need to overplant your pots. If you're just patient, give this. This has been in here 5 weeks is all. And these little Calibrochoa were a little bitty. I only have 3, 1, 2, and 3, and the rose in the center. And just look at that. And we're not even into July yet. And I mean, in another month, it'll just be so much fuller. Same thing here. Less is more. This is my greenstock vertical garden, and this year I decided instead of growing strawberries, I wanted to grow some Calibrochoa and get better at that because I'm not very good at growing it, but it loves these conditions. So instead of filling every single pocket, which each tier has 6 pockets, because these get so big, see how they spread? Look. You don't have to plant in every pocket if you know the mature size and the growing conditions for your flowers. So the ones on the top certainly have gotten bigger than the ones on the bottom, the middle tier and bottom, but isn't that a pretty combination? And so this is a really fun place for my mom and I to sit, have a chat, sip our coffee on a cool morning. It's just a lovely place to be and to be so close to these pretty plants. So I'm so happy with how these annuals have turned out. Right, my trouble bed, but I'm not going to call it that anymore. I called it that for the last 2 or 3 years because it holds so much moisture, but instead of fighting against it, I chose shrubs, perennials, and some annuals that can take wetter conditions. And in this case, oh my goodness, my Limelight Prime hydrangeas are loving their life. They are only in their 2nd season. Last year, they got to be about this tall. This year, so they're in their creep season. Next year, leap, they'll probably end up about yay high, and that's what I wanted. In the back, the Siberian iris, they're done. They're beautiful because they're early, beautiful purple. They're done. Now the hydrangeas in the next month or so are gonna really do their thing. I've got some Monarda. What is not doing great, and I'm not sure why. Hostas, Japanese forest grass. I am still holding out hope. They're not dead, but they have barely grown since I planted them about a month ago. But again, they're a grass, and so they're gonna stay there, and supposedly they do great in my zone. Eventually, they're supposed to get 2 feet tall and wide. So the idea is that they will cover the front of this bed. Another summerific hardy hibiscus right here. And again, this is only its 2nd season. Look at all the buds. And I think this one is Spinderella, if I'm remembering correctly. A few more things that are blooming here in late June. My Miss Molly Buddleia, it's just starting to bloom. My sedum there, isn't that pretty? That's got some pretty pink, rosy colored blooms going, and more hydrangeas, but this time little lime punch. These are the first hydrangeas I ever tried to grow. Lots and lots of blooms starting. Just the best, most beautiful hydrangea in my garden, I think. And then we'll just come up here. I've got my spiral boxwood. All right, you're gonna see what I've done in this bed, and that is trying to infuse some flower power with lemon coral sedum, which you see I have dotted along the front of this bed. I've got some Super Bina from Proven Winners. This is purple is this purple amethyst, I think. But you know what is a bummer right now? Check out this petunia. I have 3 of them. They look horrible and they're not supposed to. I've grown these in the past. The name is escaping me at the moment. I will put the name of it on the screen. I don't know what in the world happened. But you're going to see some other petunias. Here's some that are looking better. I haven't grown a wave petunia, y'all, in forever, but the price was too good. This is, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. It is the palest purple, but look at the throat. So I dotted those around. Again, this is the north side of the house. The further you get away from the house, the sunnier it is. So sun-loving things can be out on the edge, but the further you go back, that's where I concentrated more shade-loving things like the hellebore. Look at my Wicked Witch coleus in the back. Those are ones that I propagated, y'all, from the mother plant. I did cuttings, and when, if you were with me, I think last month, I showed you how I planted them, and they were little bitty. They are going to get probably this tall, at least. So the whole back side of this bed will be the Wicked Witch coleus. It'll be a whole screen. I've got Wicked Witch there and there as well. Let's see, I'm gonna forget what this one's called. These were also propagated. I did not buy these plants. I grew them from little cuttings off the mother plant. Oh, shucks, what is that called? I'll find it and put it on the screen, but look at, I mean, bright pink, beautiful. So we've almost made the full loop around the house. We are on the north side of the house, and in front of our garage here, I've got these tall self-watering containers that I love, and I have another gorgeous coleus and some creeping Jenny out the front. And again, I can't remember the name of this variety. It's a Proven Winners variety, but I will put that on the screen. But isn't that beautiful? And this one's supposed to get pretty darn big. So yay high, I think it says maybe 24 to 40 inches and 2 feet wide. So it's gonna really be a stunner. So we've made our lap all the way around the house and looked at all those mixed borders and how they're doing here in June. And of course, we cannot pass up the front of the greenhouse. In my 2 aqua pots, I chose the Proven Winners Sun-Credible sunflowers. I think that's what they're called. They're a branching sunflower. When I planted this sunflower, y'all, it was this big. And look, in just about 5 weeks, it is bursting to life. It is a showstopper, super hardy, tough plant, easy. I underplanted it with Aromance Mulberry Nemesia. Never grown this until this year, and boy, it's gonna come back next year in my garden. Isn't that sweet? Look at the yellow throat against this bright, cheerful yellow sunflowers. Oh, the pollinators go crazy for the sunflowers. And again, I'm using my approach, fewer plants in your pots. Only 2 Nemesia and this huge sunflower. That's all this pot needed. Just have to be patient for it to fill in. The other thing I wanted to mention about this particular Nemesia is in the past, the old school Nemesia didn't handle heat very well. They sort of, you know, fizzled out when it got hot in the summer. But Proven Winners has tried to breed and develop this particular type of Nemesia to handle the heat. So I'm hopeful that it's going to handle my hot and humid mid-Missouri summers. I know I feel like I'm saying this over and over again about such a refresh and renovations this year, but truly this gardening season has been full of revamps, and that includes our wonderful raised bed garden. You're gonna see in this garden 4 new raised beds. My husband built us the 4x8 lower beds. The tall beds in the back, if you want to pan over there, those he installed for me last year and they worked great, but this year we swapped out our lower beds for these 15-inch Birdie's raised bed, Epic Gardening, if you want to go to their website if you're interested. Yeah, so, and no, this isn't sponsored by them. Yes, we purchased them ourselves. They were not a gift. All right, let's look at these beds because there is a lot to see right now. Celosia, Spun Sugar, started these from seed. They are a floret variety. They're just getting going, just breaking out with a few buds. Zinnias, I've never grown this variety. This is the, oh, I gotta look at my tag, the Unicorn Mix. This is a floret seed. gorgeous, loving it. This bed has a lot going on, so I want to show you what I've got growing. Just about 5 days ago, I brought you along with me as I sowed some cucumber seeds, and all of them have germinated. I could not be happier about that, and I am trying the method that some experienced gardeners do, and that would be to not sow your cucumber, and we'll see the zucchinis in a minute, not to sow that seed until late June. They say waiting until later in the season helps you avoid a lot of the pests and insects that come out earlier in the summer, in particular cucumber beetle. Oh, how many of you grow cucumbers? Have you ever had cucumber beetle destroy your crops? Yeah, it's pretty common where I live. So fingers crossed that advice that I took is going to work for us in our garden. Right down here in the center are my potatoes. I have two varieties. I have Kennebec and Yukon Gold. And you might be seeing the foliage and go, oh, that looks terrible. But actually, when your potato plants get really gnarly looking and kind of dried out, that lets you know they're going to be ready to harvest. So that's actually a good thing. So I would imagine, I would say maybe in the next couple of weeks, I'll start digging. I did get a little potato already, a little new potato, and shared it with my mom. I'm really growing these for my mom. She lives with us and she adores potatoes. And so I thought, you know, I really want to devote some of my crops to things that she can really enjoy eating. Okay, and then on this side of the trellis are my green beans. And let's see, I have to look. These are the Blue Lake variety, and I sowed the seed, 1 month ago. So on May the 28th, and here we are at the end of June, and they just can find their way up. I don't have to train them. You get them close enough to a trellis, these climbing beans, and they will take off. The other thing that you're gonna see, and I know I talk about it a lot, everybody, and you're probably tired of hearing me tell you, but you're going to see loads of herbs and French marigolds. It has to be the French style marigolds planted in and amongst all of my beds. Diversity is important to the garden. It's really important to bring in different types of pollinators, and French marigolds and things like basil and parsley can sometimes repel bad insects. And I have found that it truly does work in my garden. The other thing about Italian flatleaf parsley, I grow plenty of it from seed because the swallowtail butterflies, this is a host plant for them. And so I grow enough that they can lay their eggs here, and those little caterpillars can have something good to eat to turn into beautiful butterflies. I mean, you shouldn't have favorites in the garden. I am proud of all my beds right now, but this is one of my favorite beds because I'm growing my absolute favorite cut flower, and that would be the beloved Dahlias, and they are doing great. No, they're not in bloom, and they shouldn't be yet. Dahlias are really late to bloom. Most of the time in my garden, they will not start producing flowers until July, but what's so great about their delay is that I will have flowers blooming all the way until a really, really hard frost or freeze in the fall, and I couldn't be happier. Everything has sprouted. Everything is above the surface of the soil except for just one. Let's see, which one is it? Oh, I think it's this one. Yeah, sun-kissed. So I don't know, sun-kissed, you are slow, but I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that maybe that'll go. But I've got 14 in the bed, so you know what? If one doesn't make it, perfectly okay. This is my pepper bed, and every year is different in the garden because my peppers are just meh. Last year, that way over there was my pepper bed, and they were enormous. So they're just kind of a little bit slow, but I do have some fruit. Let's see here. Oh, let's check out. I'm growing a new variety of jalapenos, Mucho Nacho. I'll just pick it. There you go. They're humongous jalapenos. I'm growing some bells and some little lunchbox variety, but check out my marigolds love the bed. They're doing amazing. I also have basil in and amongst my pepper plants. So yeah, that's what's happening in that bed. All right, this is quite the mixture. Let me come around here. A lot is going on in this beautiful big bed. All right, in the front row, I have sown some nasturtium seeds. They've sprouted. They're going to grow up and over and drape over the side of the bed. A beautiful edible flower. I've got some geraniums that I popped out of the greenhouse on either corner. I've got some basil on either end. And I have my zucchini I just sowed these seeds. Again, same time I sowed the cucumbers like 5 days ago. They've already sprouted, could not be happier. So I will thin these out. One big zucchini here, one big zucchini there. But check this out. Look at this. Da, 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 da. The first and only time I have ever been successful growing snapdragons from seed. And it is a very minimal success because I tried to sow a tray of 24 and I only had 5 viable ones. They're in here and I'm gonna cut each one and enjoy it. I've got chives, I've got sage, and I've got some cilantro I let go to flower because the pollinators love it. Okay, talk about a mixture. We have herbs. We've got this gorgeous dark basil. I've got lovely variegated sage. I have wonderful fragrant lemon thyme. I've got sweet alyssum, really great to repel insects in the garden. This big plant you see here in the center, this is lemongrass. One plant is all you need because I'll harvest this at the end of the season and I freeze my lemongrass and I have loads of it for the entire winter. Again, you're going to see some more of my little geraniums that I pulled out of the greenhouse, and there's a bee right there enjoying my geranium. And then it's kind of getting lost with this lemongrass, but each one of these, you see these are my leeks. So I have 2 whole rows of leeks. And again, I won't harvest these leeks until late summer because leeks will get about this big around. So, you know, they're slow growers, but they're worth the wait. And then last but not least, mint. This is, I think, spearmint. Oh yeah, you never, ever, ever want to grow mint in the ground around anything else because it will take over. You will never get mint out of your garden again. So that's why it's in its own pot. And in fact, I'm having a garden party this weekend and I'm going to be using this mint in some of our cocktails. So lovely. All right, you've hung in there this long. 2 more raised beds to show you. Look at this sea of carrots. I've got 3 different varieties in here. I've been harvesting on them already. Just having so much fun. And yes, I've thinned them out over and over and over again. Let's see if I can find one worth showing. I have to really peel back all this gorgeous foliage to see the tops and what might be big enough for me to pull to show you all. Oh, let's do this one. Now this isn't going to be huge, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it. All right, look at this beauty. I mean, nothing like fresh carrots from the garden. Absolutely love them raw. I love to roast carrots. I think we're doing a pot roast in the next couple days, so this will be going in our beautiful pot roast. Yum, yum. And then on the end, green onions or scallions, and yes, they are ready too, in various stages of readiness. Again, look at that. I mean, nothing is more gratifying to come out here and grab things for dinner. Oh, I just feel so happy that everything's doing so well this year. So the final raised bed to show you is, of course, my tomato bed. You can see 8 different cages filled with tomatoes. My tomatoes are doing fantastic. My husband built these tomato cages custom. They are super strong and they need to be because these tomatoes can get enormous because I grow mostly the indeterminate variety, which means they will grow and 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 continue to produce tomatoes throughout the season. Yes, I have already harvested off of these. I've harvested some Sun Gold cherries, the super sweet 100 red ones, and actually this Brandywine, which is an heirloom variety. You can come in and look at this. It's so little, look at it. It's my littlest one, I'm not sure why. But I did harvest a beautiful Brandywine tomato just the other day and gave it to my sweet mama. I wanted her to have the first big tomato just because she used to grow them for me as a child and I love them. Again, you can see there are loads of basil plants in here and more of the French marigolds. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of the raised bed garden. I know it was a lot to take in, but I mean, it is packed full. There is no room for anything else this year. It is full, 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 but I like it that way. So if you want to hang in there with me, I'm going to end our tour like I usually do. We are going to go up into our 2-acre pollinator habitat and show you around. I mean, What a magical place, right? How can you not love a pollinator habitat? You know you're doing good for the environment. You know you're providing food and shelter for all kinds of critters, including pollinators. And my husband and I are just amazed every year because we planted, he really did the planting, he planted out about 26 different types of seed. We had a special seed mix made up. We teamed up with the Department of Conservation and they helped us select seed that was going to draw in and provide food for all kinds of pollinators, in particular monarch butterflies as well as all kinds of bees. But it's also habitat for lots of critters. We see wild turkey out here, you know, we just see all kinds of things. But the surprise right now in the garden, I want you to come in really close here. Take a look at this Monarda. Isn't that a stunner? I was hoping for more purple this year and I got my wish. Look at, I mean, it's just everywhere. And so now it's not just a sea of gold and white. This Monarda has really been a lovely surprise in the garden. So I think we'll turn the camera around here in just a little bit and we'll show you up close some of the other beautiful things that are growing. So let me share with you all some of the highlights. What is blooming right now? The yarrow is about on its way out, but we had so much of this recently and that's winding down a little bit. And then you're gonna see, let's go over here. You're gonna see Coreopsis. There's a lot of Coreopsis all throughout the garden right now. This is, believe it or not, this is a type of coneflower. Don't ask me the variety. I thought I would do better at keeping track. Here's another coneflower, but this one is, again, these were prominent about a month ago. If you go and poke right down in there, I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing. There's some coneflower hiding out. Of course, the Monarda, which we already showed everybody. Let's take a look at a couple of other things. So we have a lot of Rudbeckia or Black-Eyed Susan. We have many different varieties. This is just one, but isn't that a stunner? Look how brilliant that gold is with the dark throat. And then this sweet little daisy-like flower is called Fleabane. And then you're going to see occasionally throughout, you're going to see this, and this is not anything we planted, but this is really common. This is a type of trefoil, and it's all over the highways and the edges of you know, roadsides here in mid-Missouri. But anyhow, that's what you're seeing. You're going to see some clover. That's going to be part of the deal. I do not know what this is, but I'm eager to see. So those of you that are native flower experts, look at this fuzzy, and we're seeing a lot of these. And of course, here is the flower. So we're gonna have to wait and see what that turns into. But yeah, could not be happier with, oh, look at this huge patch. Okay. So if anybody knows what this is, oh, come in, come in, come in. We have so many. Can you get that? Is that a dragonfly? Do you see what I see? Look, here's a dragonfly, a different kind. Oh my gosh, so darn pretty. Well, that's going to do it for our June walkabout. Thank you all so much for hanging in with me for this long garden tour, but there's just so many beautiful things growing in my June garden. I bet your garden is bursting with life too. I'm wishing everybody out there an amazing season. We're just really getting underway here in most of the country for a beautiful summer garden season. So thanks again so much. You know, one of the things I think I'm going to do here in just a second when we're all done is I'm going to do what I normally do. After I finish all my gardening chores and I take a stroll through that beautiful pollinator habitat, I love to move my way over here and enjoy some quiet time on my thinking bench as I just take in the day. So I hope you take in the day wherever you are. And until next time, I'm going to wish everybody out there happy gardening.